I had to relive this game over and over and over again. But we are going to talk about a few things and as well as this game. What is up, Finn fans? How is everyone doing on this Tuesday? Anyone feel better? Feel worse? Feel like you want to cry? Fun fact, yesterday the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which kind of sucks because, again, it's another situation where if the Dolphins would have just taken care of business, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few things because Mike McDaniel met with the media. Some other guys met with the media. And there's some things I want to talk about, and then we'll go into the film breakdown because there's a lot that's going on. So this is like a film breakdown, also like who's to blame type situation. So you guys know about Sleeper. I use Sleeper constantly, love their stuff. And as you can see over here, you get a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. Click the link in the description. You also get 100% up to $100 using the promo code DDW. Go check them out. So first and foremost, I want to show you guys this because as the owner of the team, how does this not give you a big slap in the face? And you might say, well, Doug, what is that? This is the Carolina Panthers Twitter handle. And this is what the Carolina Panthers put on Twitter. Essentially making fun of the Miami Dolphins and how whenever a Dolphin player or someone does well, we put, their picture, their image on the elevator. They were like, this man ran for 206 yards on you guys. So there's that. Someone also put a stat up on Twitter that I thought was very interesting. Perfect Season 09 put this up saying, Dolphins starting season, which again, I've never known about this site. So this is absolutely crazy to see that there is a site like this. But, 4-10, 8-8, 6-10, 10-6, 9-8. So the last 2 years when we started 1-4, we ended either 9-8 or 10-6. So I guess what this person's saying is don't give up hope. My hope is long gone. So I want to talk about a few things and then we'll get into the film breakdown. It'll be a quick film breakdown because it's kind of just the second half. We're going to go into it really quick, see kind of what the problem was, what happened, and what could have went better for this team, because there was a ton of times where the defense forced them to punt. Like there was about a quarter and a half where no one was scoring. And if the Dolphins would have just continued what they started in the first half, they would have won this game handedly. But for some reason, the offense stalled, and we're going to look at why. But Mike McDaniel said Stephen Ross was frustrated. I was going to say fuming, frustrated after the game. They spoke about the challenges ahead. Question asked is from Chris Perkins, but also kind of talked about the Chargers coming up and how, I guess this is a big game. McDaniel was also asked by Marcelo Louis-Jacques about the balance between letting KG Jonah continue to play or develop or not play them because of the poor performances. He says there's a belief in those guys. There are things they have to work through. Those guys need to continue to get better, but you understand that as rookies, they're natural challenges. No one is thinking we're not doing good enough because of our rookies. That is dumb. If your rookies are struggling and you're losing because of it, make the changes and the adjustments. He is not. McDaniel says, I don't see any of them being ready to return this week. Think it's several weeks as a collective group, talking about Austin Jackson, Andrew Meyer, James Daniels, and Liam Eichenberg. So he says several weeks. We're not going to get those guys back. So anyone who's sitting back thinking, hey, it's the 4 weeks since they've been put on IR, James Daniels, Austin Jackson should be back. No. It's several weeks, he's saying. Several weeks. What else did he talk about? After watching the film, McDaniel said he didn't feel an energy letdown in particular. As for the run defense, players need to trust each other and allow teams to make plays. They need to be more sound and collective. Question by a great human being. Also, Dotson is in concussion protocol and Cornell Armstrong will miss some time. So again, why not? we're kind of already beat up, so why not? Asked if there could be a lineup change, McDaniel said he's more focused on finding solutions. That is a solution, you big dumb. The worst thing would be if I didn't see solutions on tape. It's frustrating because there's a lot of talking we need to major in doing. That's a solution. That's a solution, is to make the changes. Jalen Phillips came out and said that he doesn't think that this team's a dumpster fire and, that they can turn it around. I disagree with that. This is the one that killed me. McDaniel said preparation and execution were the key reason why the Dolphins lost today. We thought we were prepared for this, and clearly we weren't. Please tell me, if you hear your head coach say that, how do you keep him? How do you keep him if you sit back and hear your head coach say that and you're like, oh, that's cool. Sure, yeah, we weren't prepared. Little things here and there. Willie Gay technically started the game but only got 3 snaps. Ollie Gordon got 14 snaps. That makes a ton of sense. And the Miami Dolphins are not facing the Chargers starting running back in Hampton, who is injured. So they're down Najee Harris and Hampton. So if you're in fantasy, grab one of the backup running backs. That man's about to go off. But there's one more thing I want to talk about before we jump into the film breakdown. First and foremost, this film breakdown was very eye-opening for me. There's a lot of problems, and some of it is the play call, in all honesty. Obviously, Tua is the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, so he gets a brunt of the blame. If you believe in PFF, if you believe in their grading system where they kind of look at outside perspectives and things here and there, they gave Tua a 90 grade on this game. I don't think Tua is the reason they lost. We will get into that stuff. Here's my thing about Tua and essentially the quarterback position of the Miami Dolphins. If you expect the quarterback of your team to be absolutely perfect to win the games, you're never going to win those games. If you expect your quarterback not to miss throws and go 20 for 20 and 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and have a 158.3 passer rating, you're going to lose the games. Now, I'm going to show you plays where Tua missed some throws. But if you're honestly your problem, and I have problems with Tua, you guys know I talked about week 1, 2, and 3. He had a big reason in those losses. But if you're expecting Tua, especially in this game, to go perfect when your defensive line sucks, you're rushing for 19 yards, your offensive line was just absolutely horrible, that's just expectations that are not realistic. You look at the Chargers, right? Chargers are doing fantastic, even though they lost 2 games in a row. Justin Herbert has the 8th best defense and the 13th best run offense. You look at the Colts, who are surprising the heck out of people. Daniel Jones, who sucked butt with the Giants, has the 14th best defense and the 9th best run game. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who just beat the Kansas City Chiefs last night, 16th best defense and the 4th best run game. I'm giving you an example of 3 teams, 2 of them that are 4-1 right now, that they're not putting everything on their quarterback to be perfect. Even Justin Herbert has thrown interceptions in some of the games that they've won because they're not putting everything to be perfect on their quarterback because the defense is helping him out and there's a run game that also helps it out. That, again, I'm going to show you some plays where the play action helps. If you remember the Jets game, I showed you 3 plays where the play action opened up huge plays for the team, one of them being an easy walk-in touchdown. This team, and it's a team thing, is bad. The offensive line is probably, I would put it, the 3rd worst in the NFL right now. The defense is probably, if not the worst in the NFL right now. We have no run game because of said offensive line. Again, we had 19 rushing yards. One of their players had 206. See what the problem is? So when that happens, all of a sudden, you get hyper-focused, and then the defense is like, they're not going to run the ball. And then when they do run the ball, I will show you in 2 seconds, we get stuffed. So again, putting things into perspective, if you constantly, and this is not a Tua thing, because this is something that we did with Tannehill, Chad Henne, Who else? Who else? Who else? Brock Purdy, like not Brock Purdy, Brock Osweiler. You name any quarterback that we have put on this team, that was always the expectation. He needs to be perfect. Oh, he missed a throw. This is why. If you expect your quarterback to be perfect, you're going to lose. And you can look at every single quarterback in the NFL that when their team needs them to be perfect, they end up losing that game. Hence the Super Bowl last year where they needed Patrick Mahomes to be perfect because nothing else was working. They ended up losing that game. Buffalo, in every AFC championship game, they needed their quarterback to be perfect. They ended up losing that game. So again, it's a team sport for a reason. Me saying this isn't trying to say like Tua is still the best quarterback and da-da-da. You guys know how I feel about Tua after, we looked at a bunch of film in the first 3 weeks. I'm just like, he needs a change of scenery. But I'm just trying to put things into perspective for you guys. So I'm going to be moving myself from side to side because last time I was in the way. Hopefully this doesn't get demonetized because it didn't last time. So the run is going to be going this way. I'm going to put myself over on this side over here. So, like I said, we started the second half. We were up. They kicked a field goal. At this point, it is 17-13. We're on our own 25. Our offensive line is struggle Bastidian right now. It's struggling. So we put Ollie Gordon in there, and we kind of try to do a stretch this way. It's either this way. No, or I think it's this way. But essentially, it gets blown the flip up, and I'll show you. No motion. Yeah, it's this way. Just dead on arrival. It's like, I don't know if Jonah was not, again, it might be another situation where Jonah should have left this guy for Brewer and chipped this guy. Because there's a possibility Ollie Gordon could have bounced it this way if one guy didn't get doubled. So again, is this another situation where, again, it breaks my heart because I like Jonah. Jonah was supposed to let him take this block, and then he comes around and takes this block because he's going to come over here, block, set up the lane for Ollie Gordon to bounce it to the outside. Because this man goes unblocked right here. Come off, hit him, chip him, do something, doesn't. Tackle for a loss. So again, that was the game. That was like most of the game was that. We couldn't get anything done on the ground. So the play action went out the window. This is to his scramble. And what I'm going to check here is to see, is anyone open? Does he really need to run? Who's at fault here, essentially? Right? So drop back. See, here's the thing, right? He starts taking off running. No one's open, right? Still running the route, still running a route. Darren Waller's being doubled here, still running the route. He didn't really necessarily need to run. And again, if he did need to run, he should have went here. So he's gonna come through, but he kind of gets taken down to the ground. And he sees the pressure, so he's gonna take off running this way. And again, no one's open. He actually should have came up this way. He got a nice little lane here, step up, move around. And I'm going to show you, he actually, in a few plays, has great pocket presence. It's just here, again, if I'm going to nitpick, should have went this way. Now, would he have gotten the first down? Possibly, Waddle might have blocked and Westbrook Akine would have blocked, but no one's open. No one was open on this play. And obviously he's got to try to run through two guys. That's not going to happen. He's playing smart football there. So then we forced, that was on 3rd and 8. Boom. We punt the ball. They punt it back. Defense does their job. Again, in the third quarter, the defense actually does pretty well. So I showed you the play before where we tried to do somewhat of a stretch to the left side and it goes nowhere. We try it again. Here's my thing. And again, I don't mean to knock anybody, but you are asking Malik Washington to block. If we had 6 foot or taller receivers, Not saying the run game would be better, but maybe a little bit more productive because you're asking Malik Washington to block. Now, first off, Westbrook doesn't get a block in. And then again, you're asking Malik to block. Just nobody. Look at. Just look at this. Do you see what the problem is and why there's 3 defenders tackling him? Why are 3 of the Dolphins offensive linemen laying on the ground? It's a problem. So now this is 2nd and 8 because somehow we got 2 yards on that. And they try a little play here. And Tua gets instant pressure, can't really let the play develop, and can't throw it downfield. Right? So, like, even, again, if he wants this to develop, if he wants this to develop, if he wants this to develop, he can't because he already got pressure. So he's like, I'm going to try to get it to Malik running up for my life. Now, here is why this play didn't work. It's not necessarily the fact that he went unblocked. It's not necessarily that no one pointed out the hot mic or anything. It's because we, at this point in the game, had like 20 yards rushing because we got a few negative yards rushing. We had like 20 yards rushing. The defense is not respecting the run. Again, I showed you against the Jets how when they respected the run, the play action bit hard. So it's going to be a play action right here to Achane because he's going to pull to block, right? They're all going to kind of go this way. This is the way they're going to go, right? So by doing that, you would hope that the whole defense would kind of shift this way and he would come down and bite and allow Tua to roll out without any pressure and allow him to scan the field, make a pass, or run for a few yards. But what happens is Tua gets a little motion here, play action. First off, he's not biting on anything, and he's like, oh, you're not running the ball. Instant pressure. Because if not, you could have possibly hit him if, again, the play action works. So again, not being able to run the ball is a problem. Now it is 3rd and 8. We are on, again, our own at. He shouldn't have. Well, he didn't need to leave the pocket, right? Drops back. Could have thrown it here, right? Possible blocker here. You needed to get to the 45. I think this is probably the throw you could have made. But he feels some type of pressure. He probably sees, and he probably, in all honesty, he probably doesn't trust Jonah. So he probably, so he probably sees this and he's like, oh my God. But he could have stayed there for a hot minute. He definitely could have stayed there for a hot minute. He didn't have to take off running, right? Could have dropped it off right here. Right here. But he takes off. And then again, any other quarterback that has better arm strength, this is probably a touchdown. And that's just kind of where you're at having Tua as your quarterback because he tries to make the throw and it's the right throw, right here because you have Malik Washington. If this was and again, I don't mean to, whatever. If it's a stronger armed quarterback, this is a touchdown right here. But he had to kind of slow up because he's losing real estate. Boom. Josh Allen sees this, it's a touchdown. Baker Mayfield sees this, it's a touchdown. Hitting it. Throws it out of bounds. He doesn't have the arm strength. Justin Herbert, that's a touchdown. It wasn't. We punt. Hey, guess what? Boom, force a punt. So, if you remember, the first play I showed you, it was a run play, -3 yards. The second group of offensive plays I showed you, it was a stretch, 2 yards. So you would think Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, the run isn't working great. And I got so mad when I saw this live. The run isn't working great. You know what? let's not try stretching the. Why, man? Why? And if you're gonna run it, don't run a stretch where you force your offensive linemen to be more mobile, and you need your guys like Westbrook Akine to block who can't block. And this man literally came out and said the reason they stopped throwing to Waller in the second half is he didn't want to be too predictable. So you do this. You keep running plays that don't work. Cool. Fantastic. And then you run this the very next play. Screens. Stop running screens. Now, is this a screen or is this Tua's decision, right? Drops back. This should have been a hold. This play, he's going to run into 8. So you can't throw this, right? Covered. But honestly, I think if you're, again, this is essentially a 2-option situation. You can either throw the screen here or you could throw the screen up here. Being that he's a lefty, he's facing this way. So this was his first decision. You have Waddle here who's kind of running an out route. He's going to run right into number 8. That's not open. You have him kind of running into this quad of defenders. I would have thrown it here, man, to be honest with you. But again, I don't know, man. Why are you running a stretch on first down? See, this is where, again, you put yourself into situations where you then need your quarterback to be perfect. Because this isn't open. You're running into the defender. This isn't open. This is the better option. But you're asking a guy who's facing this way, seeing pressure come, to give his back, turn this way, and throw the ball. It's a bad play design. And I'm going to show you another bad play design before. Just a bad play design. Why are you running these types of plays? 1st and 10, you run a stretch that isn't working, you lose 2 yards. Next play, you run 2 screens, they don't work, another 2 yards. So now you're sitting at 3rd and 14. Got to do something. Watch, and here, again, watch Tua's pocket presence. Drops back, pressure, right? Steps up, steps back. Like that's beautiful. Beautiful pocket presence right there. I need him to do that more often because you're going to be getting a lot of pressure because his offensive line sucks. Because what are you doing, man? And you're hoping that Achane can make the block. He can't. Goes up and around. Beautiful. But you got to dump it off here. Because again, unfortunately, this is the quarterback that Tua is. He doesn't have a rocket arm. Because if he has a rocket arm, he hits this pass here. Right here. But that's the quarterback you have. So you need to make plays, draw plays, and assess your offense to the quarterback you have. The quarterback that you paid. Because that's the pass. I think that's Waddle. Right? There, he's breaking down on Waller. That's your pass right there, man. But he dumps it off here, hoping that he can break tackles. Knock, knock. Who's there? He can't. So then we punt. And guess what? Guess what? The defense forces another punt. Another punt. And this is a play, and I show this one. It's a very vanilla, generic play for the Miami Dolphins. But this is the plays that should have been called on the 3 separate series that I just showed you, where we got, cutesy tootsie, whatever you want to say, with these play calls. Just a simple drop back, watch, boom, hit him on a post. 17-yard pass. Stop trying to be fancy, Mike McDaniel. These are the plays that he should be calling, and that is the problem. He tries to be fancy. He does the end arounds. He does the screens. He does the stretches of running that aren't working. And okay, you see that, right? Perfect. Instant pressure. So he has to dump it off to Julian Hill. Why is it instant pressure? Can anyone tell me why it's instant pressure? It's because they're not biting on the play action. Because you're running for 20 yards. I think at this point we hit 19. Why are you calling play action plays? Why aren't you calling straight up drop back and throws? Why are you doing plays where you're hoping that the defender bites on the play action? He's not going to, because the play action isn't working. because you had Darren Waller up here. Throw back shoulder. This is 1st and 10. You throw back shoulder to Darren Waller up here. He's going to catch it, but he had no time because the pressure was instantly in his face because we were depending on play action plays when the play action isn't working because there's no running. This is a play that I'm like, to a bad decision, my man. Right? This was not his fault. This one, I'm like, what are you doing? Drop back, boom. Right here. Right here. He's waiting for the ball. You throw the ball right here. He's going upfield, baby. That's the pass right there. That's the one. This one I'm like, that's bad. And then this one sucks. This would have been a touchdown. And again, at this point, we are up by 4 still. 17-13. This play would have been a touchdown if not for 2 factors. First factor, bad snap. Look where the snap is. Ready? Boom. Down by his knees. Down by his left knee. First factor. Now he has to get it, bring it up, collect himself, and make a throw. Second factor, instant pressure. No time to set his feet. No time to do anything. Bad snap, then instant pressure in his face. If not, would have been a touchdown. If not a touchdown, at least a deep completion, getting the ball on their 20-something. But like off the rip, plays dead. Bad snap down at his knees, drops back, instant pressure because, they're sending a blitz, especially on this side because our right guard is hot trash. He has to just chuck it up and hope and pray. Has no time to read, no time to anything. So then the drive ends there. It is done, dead, ends there. Now the Dolphins are down. It is now 20-17. Fun fact, on that drive where the Panthers scored a touchdown, they ran 6 times and threw it once. And they scored the touchdown. Now, the Dolphins get my apologies. Yes, Dolphins get a touchdown. Now, I want to show you this defensive play, right? So now we're up again. It's 24-20. And this is 4th and 5. They're on the Miami 33. So best case scenario. No, it's 4th and 5. They need to go for this because they're down by 4, right? They just gave up a nice deep touchdown to Jalen Waddle. They need to give this up. They need to get this 4th and 5. Rasul Douglas gets yelled at. You're on the wrong side. No, that's actually Minka, because we were so far down in corners that Minka had to come in and play corner. Drops back, and he's just gets beat so bad and actually grabs him. Could have been a holding for a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down, not called, but he's open, right? But I want to show you something that drove me nuts. Watch Bradley Chubb. Why are you going so far over? Now, obviously it's drawn up. I'm not going to blame him, but instead of lining up here, right, where he can go get the pass, you see the distance here with, look how straight that line is. Jalen Phillips, he's all the way over here. Why? Because you're going to rush the passer and you're going to get chipped by the tight end. Why is he so far over? Because guess what? Knock, knock. Who's there? Ball gets snapped. He gets chipped by the tight end. Then he's going to get chipped by the tackle. So there's no pressure allowing for that deep route to happen. Also, little holds right there. Are you blind? Like, sir, do you need bifocals? He's looking right at him. Looking right at the hold. No hold call. But again, no pressure. Throw him. Dolphins get the ball back there down 24-0. No, sorry. 27-24 at this point because they ended up scoring. And this is kind of where, it really, everything falls apart. This play here peeves me a little bit. So you're going to get a little motion here from Malik. And what peeves me about this is you're going to have Jalen Waddle run this route and you're going to have Malik run this route. And why I'm peeved is, why do you have two receivers in the same vicinity? That is just keeping both defenders in the same vicinity. And that's exactly what happens. Why are they both? And in all honesty, I saw this and I was like, Tua made the wrong decision. Should have hit Malik right here. Boom, hit Malik. And then I was like, could he have broken on it and intercepted it? I don't think so. This was the wrong throw. He tried to hit Waddle. He should have hit Malik. And then it would have been like 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, possibly turned it up. But he made the wrong throw on this one. Should have been here to Malik. I don't know why he threw it to the guy who had the closer defender on him, but there's that. Then this is a bad throw. This is just a bad throw by Tua. And again, it's a situation where, you know, you could hit right here. Why aren't you trying? This is 2nd and 10. Why are you trying to hit Westbrook? Why are you trying to force something, right? And if you notice when he throws it, he gets pressure. They do pull a stunt. He feels the pressure here, and see how he throws and turns his body? So he's going to throw it and turn his body away. Completely throws the throw off, because if not, he's catching this. But Waddle goes up and smacks that ball, because if not, that's an interception. But you can see horrible technique. Watch, throws and then turns his body. Instead of just like throwing and leading it and staying there and being in the moment, he turns away from what would be a potential contact, and it's a bad pass. But he had other options too. But again, it's a situation where instant pressure. So with the pressure there, this whole side of the field is just cut off to him, because he can't turn this way to throw over here. So any of these routes are dead on this play. So you have this one, and then this one, and then this one. That's why I was saying, like, it's open. It's a good throw. It's just bad mechanics. He threw and turned his body. See how he like... So you're essentially throwing the ball and then turning away. You're going to pull the trajectory of the ball off. But Waddle saves it. And then 3rd and 10. He needs to get it here to the 32. Could have hit him. You're not hitting him. You're not hitting him. Could hit him. Sacked. And again, the way the pressure was coming this way, it kind of cuts the one side of the field off. But Jonah is just, he's not having a good 5 games into his season. Instant pressure. Absolutely instant pressure. So again, you know, it sucks because they should have won this game, and they had ample opportunities on offense to run away with this game when this Dolphin defense, who gave up 206 rushing yards, forced the Panthers to punt like 3 or 4 times in a row. So they had plenty of opportunities to give it away, to run away with the game. But it's like the play calling was just horrible in some situations, abandoning plays that were working to stick with plays that aren't working. Tua missing on a few passes, but again, if you expect him to be perfect, and again, he had a stronger arm, we probably would have torched him, but he doesn't, and that's what you're stuck with right now. So you got to draw things up better, and McDaniel isn't. So to think about who's to blame, I would obviously I put the offensive line in McDaniel, but there's Tua in there as well. Now, obviously we could say the defense, you have 206 rushing yards, but I'm pulling back on the defense because of the simple fact that they forced, what did I say, 3 or 4 punts in a row that the Dolphins offense really should have ran away with it. The offensive line was just bad. Can't block. Tua wasn't that bad. Hey, if PFF gives him a 90 grade, and PFF is super critical, maybe he wasn't that bad. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you tomorrow with the picks. If this gets taken down, which I hope it doesn't, hopefully, it's over on the Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon, you can head over there. I might have a video coming out, Patreon exclusive. So, yeah. Other than that, like usual, stay classy and fins up.